Welcome to the Innovate Summit Podcast. Join us every week for the heartbeat between our biannual curated room of human-centered innovation. And here are your hosts, Brian Wallace and Drew Sutton. Welcome to the show. Our first ever episode 1, episode 0. I don't think they let you label it as 0, but yeah, what a pleasure that it's just Brian and Drew just talking about all about their origin and all that. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. This is exciting for me. Normally, I'm the host in the Drew Sutton podcast. This is actually super fun. Like, I'm really looking forward to the guests we have lined up. We got, I think, 10 absolute superstars already on the list.
I love that.
We're getting those guys scheduled. So let's just kick off episode 0. Hello, world.
Hey, let's do this thing. So everybody just missed all the stuff. Well, we were just like, hey, what are we like talking about and stuff? So like my thought is this is the heartbeat in between what happens at Innovate, instead of just here, look at all our great speakers, sponsors, blah, blah, blah. Here's a city, get to know the people. But before we have another guest, maybe y'all should get to know us and how we start doing our whole song and dance, right? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So just to let everybody understand what Innovate is, let's just talk about some of the folks that we've seen at Innovate, or some of the folks. Who's been your favorite connection, maybe year 1, year 2, and year 3?
So I'm a weird person to interview on this particular question because I know most of the room. I don't even know how to answer that. Let me answer it in a way that nobody's expecting.
This is like when my daughter asked me if she's my favorite child, like my
right.
youngest.
Yeah, no. Like there's no way. And we have a whole WhatsApp community, guys, for those of you who don't know about that. So I do not want to take a whole rash of garbage from everybody where it's like, well, what didn't he say about me? I'm going to say it differently. I'm going to talk about, because people think about us and they hear community and everybody's like excited. And then people are like, well, is it just summer camp and I see the same people and I'm not going to do any business? So no, that's not what we're about. We are talking about relationships first, leading to better business, because there's capitalism and there's baby eating capitalism. Can I say that? That's not a curse word, but regular good old capitalism with some ethical backbone on it.
I think we're not supposed to say the silent part out loud. I think that's the agreement, right?
I don't know what I'm not sure what podcast you signed up for, but fair enough. But what I like to reinforce with everybody that's worried that it's just going to be fun friends having a good time and the same people, I love to think about effectiveness, because there are relationships that you can forge and build and nurture that turn into incredible amounts of biz. So first I'm going to talk about, and I'm curious, you should answer your own question on this too. First one I'm going to lead in with is Joseph Lewin, because Joseph come to every single Innovate so far. And at the time of this recording, we've done 3 yearly Innovates in May in Kentucky. And at the time of this recording, we're about 3 months out to our next one in Nashville, our first experiment to do them biannually, which means twice a year, not semi-annually. It's different. So Joseph and I have been friends and colleagues and referred each other business for probably a decade at this point. He's come to every single one of them, and he probably wins more business than everyone, because he's not hard selling, he's not overselling, he's having good conversations, he's having relationships. He even had podcasts while he was at the event. So he invites people in and then doesn't have to oversell, because we are helping people broach that very difficult path of forging those relationships.
Yeah. For me, probably the first year, there's a couple of really amazing people that kind of like, I'm putting this in terms of not just amazing people that I enjoyed, but people that had a tangible impact on my life. Joseph is definitely one of them.
That's a great clarifier.
Yeah, honestly, Alina, she and I have kind of forged a fun relationship. She's also an executive coach. She's done stuff like at Disney Plus and at ABC, like all the big, huge companies. She's done.
Yeah, she launched Disney Plus, bro. That's right.
Yeah, and she made some very pointed and gentle but appropriate comments about the way that I'm a little bit rough on myself, and like not in like some Drew, no, but like I am always attack, and I never take a moment to look backwards and appreciate what I've accomplished. So I'll go, I'll be attack, kind of like slump for a little bit, because I'm exhausted and I don't feel like I've made any progress. And she was like, "What are you talking about?" And so, we had a session, and she kind of basically taught me how to be grateful, and
Mm.
it literally changed my life. And anytime that I kind of hit that slump, I'm like, pause. Alina said, "Turn around and look what you've accomplished." And that, I mean, huge. I can't overstate the amount of positivity and momentum she's given me because of that little piece of advice.
Man, so well said. I feel like we could have a whole side podcast, which we're not going to do in episode one of this one. We
Right,
could just
right.
talk about highlight reel stuff, but
Yeah.
I'll throw a couple other things on there. So definitely Alina has been a key force, key figure. And what I love about watching this is you're watching Alina's journey to rise in prominence. Like she's been on TED
Oh,
Talk.
yeah.
Like you're watching her just completely own it out there and really, really get into her own zone of genius. And it's just so obvious. I'm not throwing shade in the beginning. It wasn't that she wasn't great at the beginning, but you're just watching it in real time. And every year she's coming, it's like, wow, she's really getting out there and doing it. And it's also cool that you said that she kind of taught you this about yourself. And it reminds me, I'll throw another person on here. And this was year one. Was it year one for Kim Angeli?
Yeah.
Right? So Bob Berg, who Drew and I are certainly fans of, who wrote The Go Giver with John David Mann. He couldn't come personally, but one of the main people that's part of his whole operation is Kim. And Kim, when she gave a particular talk on stage, she was talking about the law of reciprocity. And she said, and it was such an interesting moment. Sometimes there's certain stage moments or things that happen at an event where it just feels like time stops and it becomes like this core memory of the event, right? Other people are jointly experiencing it. And she said, look to the person next to you. There's no one here, but I don't have like
Right.
random props. That would be weird. You've got some cool props, but I mean, you could hold up an airplane and be like, this is the person next to you. The AirPods will be the person next to me.
Right.
So look at the person next to you and give them a genuine compliment. Hey, Drew, it was really cool that you bothered to wear, professional dress today. Like anything. It could be anything. It could be big. It could be small. You had a genuine conversation already, whatever. And the natural default human behavior is, oh, shucks, anybody could do it. No, it's nothing. And we deflect this wonderful gift that people are trying to give us. So it's a little
Mm.
bit insulting and it's stopping the universe, higher power, however you understand life, of that flow of reciprocity. And she said, just thank the person, stop blocking it. And I feel like that's almost a similar vein of everything that you were saying that Alina saw in you that you are manifesting. Yeah.
Well, and I love that both of these things are kind of flip sides,
Mm.
not of soft skills, because they are
Mm.
kind of soft skills,
Yeah.
and they are kind of mindset skills. They do certainly fall in that genre of coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what I've loved, especially this third year, is that like Jeremy Kampf,
Enough. Yep.
Knopf, sorry,
Jeremy, no.
excuse me, Jeremy Knopf. He and I really, our relationship started blossoming in the third year. We liked each other the first year. The second year, we were like, yeah, we want to do something. We're busy. And this third year, like I've written some articles for him, and I'm going to write some more articles for him. And he's helped. That relationship is blossoming, right?
Mm.
And I think that we live in this social media world where it's all about make the carousel, you're always looking for customers. You just find a customer, be out there, set yourself apart. And we forget that life is about rooms. And if you roll
Yeah.
back the clock,
Mm-hmm.
now it's a little longer than I thought it was, but to 1990, before social media,
Oh, you were
it
making
was
me
about relationships.
my hair just
Uh,
turned white, like right when you said that. Thank you.
somebody, somebody was talking about the 2000s as if they were a long time ago, and I was like, the 2000s are
Oh
those are
man, you ever
longer
see
ago
all
than
the
I thought
memes
they
on the internet were it's like, what year were you born? And the guy starts saying 19 instead of 2000, and they play the
were.
Jurassic Park theme. So go on, 1990s.
Right, like the Jurassic Park movie now has a classic car license plate, right? Like it's a classic.
We're
It's
calling
not.
you a dinosaur, but yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, yeah. Any rate, uh, most conferences, you and I go to lots of conferences. When you're in the coaching space, in the
Yeah.
consulting space, you're always at a conference. And most conferences are commercialized, right? You buy a booth
Mm.
and you're like being shoved through, and the people that are speaking it's not really a speaking thing. They're actually, it's a sales funnel as a keynote. And it's a little bit exhausting. And you're like, listen, I'm not here for this. I'm just paying to get my client, and it's all kind of not what you want. It's a funnel, in-person funnel, and then you
Right.
go home and you shove them into your CRM, and it's a funnel.
You checked
Um,
boxes though, so clearly you did something.
right, but this event's been fun, especially 3 years of getting to see the same people, watching them grow, and now starting to find the true overlap where trust
Mhm.
exists.
Yeah.
It's like this is how business should be. It's been a lot of fun.
Hmm. Yeah. Listen, I mean, in today's world of hyperscaling AI, where everybody is just ramping up the productivity and you're just sending more messages and more messages and more calls and voice AI and text and calls and emails and everything and social media overload, how do you know who to trust out there? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Even people
Yeah.
that you're connected to for years, do you know them? Have you ever talked to them? Do you know what they sound like? Have you ever met them in person? You ever shake hands? Do you know what they're interested in? Do they have kids? Like, you don't know anything about some of these people. So like, even your so-called friends might not be your friends. Maybe maybe they've lost their mind. We're all kind of on that edge, right? So these rooms don't happen automatically. They don't happen
Yeah.
magically. What y'all don't see is that a lot of this room and the corresponding people that are friends or friends of friends come from a lifetime of trust and connections. So, yes, very much like these, I checked a box and I went to an event because I hoped that I got something because of some lead gen. Great, keep doing that. But the world has moved on. Most of those modalities have existed long before the internet. And if you thought the 1990s were a long time ago, so's the internet, right? So I just don't
Yeah.
understand why everybody's like rushing to the shiny new AI thing and then the conference doesn't evolve. Conferences around the pandemic were $1 trillion industry. They're going to about 3 to 4 trillion now. And places like
Really.
the Anthropics of the world are hiring head of events for 500 grand. Why? Right? If AI is just replacing everything, AI is making this stuff more valuable. And I'm hearing this everywhere. Like, just in
Mm.
case you thought that you and I were delusional, Drew, there's a lot of other people that happen to agree with this concept right now, that small is eating the big.
No, every prospect or lead that I've gotten in the last 6 months, the conversation goes like this: pleasantries. Can
Right?
you help me with marketing because they want more leads, right?
Sure.
And again, can you help me with funnels? That's basically what they're asking. I have this manpower problem, and
Mm,
sometimes somebody's getting pregnant, or somebody's going off to school, or somebody's about to retire, whatever. Can
yeah.
can you help me with this manpower problem? And then can you help me figure out AI? Every conversation I've had for the last 6 months is in that order. That's the conversation. And I think what they're really saying is, um, I need more business because the economy's tight, and I don't really know how to lead my people beyond where we're at,
Mm, hmm.
which is a leadership question. And then I think AI is important because I think it'll get me more leads, or that it'll solve my manpower problem. But all of that, the underlying question there is, how do I lead my team to be more efficient, more effective?
Right.
Um, and it's a people problem. It's the same problem we've always had, right? It's just a
And
people
it's
problem.
the same question behind the question. Why do people skip to solutioning? Why would you assume that AI is going to fix something? Like, I don't understand it, right? So you have an engineering background. I have a tech background before we kind of found ourselves and
Yeah.
evolved. But it's still in there, right? We still know how things tick and we still know why that's important. But the engineering technology guys, because they hang out with each other, they're nerds.
Yeah,
I,
that's true.
I say that with love, it's fine.
Dice were rolled.
Dice were rolled. So yeah, just don't get the nat 20. If you get the one, the podcast crashes, which we don't need. Uh, I will not get up and go get a die, but I have plenty of dice around. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
still there. Needless to say, oh man, it's just crazy where all that stuff goes. I don't know. Just I don't understand why people just obsess with the details and they solution first because they
right.
should be just getting into the question behind the question. I think that's kind of our jobs as organizing a conference or consulting or marketing or leading.
Well, let
Mm,
me let me take a stab at kind of what you're stabbing at here, which is because I
mm,
think it's important. It's been difficult to put together these conferences. Now, I don't say that like, oh, woe is me. Anything substantial, anything worthwhile is an effort, right?
mhm.
That's not. I'm not complaining,
That's
but there's a fundamental. I think it's a fear thing People know that they need this lead gen. They know that they need relationships. They know that they need advice. They need peers. They need to be connected.
Right.
I think that like an Edgar Allan Poe poem, we all bricked ourselves in our basements or in our offices during COVID, and then like we don't really know how to get out. We
Do
think
you
it's
have a buried body? Where's this going? I
well, we
still
don't
hear
connect.
the
We don't
beating
get
of
out,
his
right?
arm. Yeah.
And so, but we've run into a lot of friction, folks. Every time we try to put one of these in a new city, and of course Nashville's coming up here in October. Super pumped for that.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's excited, but then it's like pulling teeth to get people to commit. What do you think is causing that? Is there like a mental hurdle that people need to help, that you can help reset right now? Because folks intuitively know it's important, but I think they're looking at the return on an advertising spend. They're like, well, I can't justify doing that. And maybe there's a way that we can rethink it. Can you help me have a better perspective about why people should get excited about not only coming to an event? You know, if you come to somebody else's event, you're cattle. If you come to an event that you help put together, your community.
You're cattle, and you're getting branded by somebody else, not to be gross. This is the world's great pattern interrupt, and that is what we have to offer you on a silver platter. So instead of, let me think about it, I'm not saying you have to say you're welcome, but there's a great book, Thou Shalt Prosper, by Rabbi Daniel Lapin, and he says that people give you certificates of appreciation when they like you. Those are called dollars. And again, I told you the type of capitalism we're into. So it probably is in your best interest, whoever's listening, to come to this if you've already figured out what you're doing in life and you're looking for all the people to partner up with. Look, if we go back in time, not all the way to the 90s or 2000s, let's start with COVID. Yep. So if you were becoming a young adult during COVID, I weep for the future, because that was the time that you were supposed to make connections, have eye contact, see people in person, do handshakes and all that, and you were stunted. But guess what? If you were over 20 years old then, it still was a giant nightmare, because we all learned what Zoom was and we were never on video before, and everything was weird, and people stopped going to the office, and we all did without conferences in person for a while. But we would go in a Zoom room with 200 people and watch somebody make a margarita and pretend to be happy. Come on. So I'm not here to trigger everybody to get back into that zone, but we all stopped getting dressed. The word of the year for Merriam-Webster was goblin mode, because we stopped with our self-care. Terrible, a goblin. Awful. Yeah. So we all have these terrible learned behaviors as our first go round in our adult mind, or as a regression of our previous working adult mind. And it was weird. I would watch all my speaker friends the first year or two after everybody's coming out of that fog ice age thing, and everybody would just talk about that they would get on stage and they'd be like, oh man, I'm so rusty and it's good to be out there again. It's like, couldn't you have said that in the green room? Like, if people are flying you out and paying you money, like, I don't want, like, if I'm flying, the pilot's going to be like, man, I haven't flown this plane in 8. Oh, this PA system is on. Damn it. All right. Well, I'm fired. So, I mean, it's like, what are people doing? It was weird. People were saying this out loud. It's weird to see you again. I forgot what you looked like. We really aged. I forgot how to do handshakes. Like, all this stuff was weird. So I don't think we're done with that. And it's not like that was a month ago, but people really are trying to lean into and like horseshoe in this thing where it's like, I'm under pressure. The world is crazy. There's a lot of economic uncertainty and I have to produce. So everybody tried to just go online because it's like, well, I can't go to a conference, so I'll convert everything to virtual events and SEO and all sorts of online stuff. And they're trying to do the productivity that AI is supposedly going to bring, which is great. And it's good for some things. But can it introduce you to Drew? Maybe. Will it make Drew trust you? No. Actually,
no, it's certainly not.
It will probably put a wedge into, or a chasm that we can't jump over for that bridge of trust, which is out. You need humans to get together. We are a very social animal, and we need to congregate. So we might as well do it right.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some of the effect of Innovate. What have you been up to? I mean, I have a couple of things that I've been up to. I'm actually kind of excited to share.
Yeah.
what have you been up to since Innovate? Let's just, because Innovate was almost 2 months ago. We're coming up to the end of July. We have one coming in October. We just did it in May. Let's talk about the energy and the momentum you gain when you go to something like Innovate.
Sure. So Innovate year 3, without getting into all the details, the first 2 years we did it in one city in Kentucky, and this year we did it in a different city in Louisville. So a lot of what I was up to was making sure we actually had year 3 of a conference, because that was a long time going. So coming off the energy of that, I had enough predictive confidence based on some travels I had a few months before that I said, you know what, let's announce Nashville, because I feel the energy in here, and it's really good energy. I can tell people are excited. I can tell people who aren't here are really kicking themselves, that we've really just hit a certain groove that people want to see going. So why are we waiting a year? I already had preliminary conversations. Nashville, let's just do this thing. And that's exactly when we announced it. So one thing that I'm working very hard I spin 2 main plates in the public. One thing is Ball of Influence Online, which is all the now sourcing stuff that we do. That's a company that's turning 20 next month at the time of this recording in August. So I have a lot of thoughts about that. I think a lot about making an impenetrable moat, looking at a bell curve, and I've written about this a bit, where AI is going to utterly destroy everything to the left of the bell curve, in the middle for a little bit, but won't touch everything all the way to the right, because that's incredible levels of expertise that world-renowned people do. So instead of changing what I do every year, that I was a crypto consultant and an NFT consultant and an AI consultant and whatever, I keep trying to get better at the things that I do for humanity in that big ball of online influence. And I'm also working hard on the big ball of in-person influence, which is making Innovate better. I think that Innovate needs to happen more than once a year. It doesn't have to get so much bigger, but a little bigger, because all of the predictive wins you will have with all the relationships with all of the different people in a room has a multiplier effect. So if it's 10 people at a bar or 30 people in a restaurant, it's a little limited, and that's more like a meetup. If it's 100, it's pretty good. I think that its optimization is probably that 100, 150, 200 variance. So I'd like to see it get a little bigger. So we're working hard on that. And as a Ghostbusters reference, they were always worried about crossing the streams. I am trying really hard to cross the streams with online and in person, and also just different people coming from different backgrounds, different industries, different roles. Having that multitude together with this super Ghostbuster stream of the online and in person is what gets me up in the morning and keeps me busy.
No, I love the crossing of the streams. Actually, coming out of Innovate, I have made a couple of partnerships. I've already mentioned Jeremy Knopf, but there's another gentleman named Nick, and Nick and he has helped me substantially redo my coaching branding, which I've been super, super grateful for his insights.
You going to say last name out loud?
Nick Alter.
There we go. Because there's multiple Nicks. People are going to know. Yep.
Yeah. And then also I have another product called the Black Investing Box, which has been kind of sitting on a shelf for, I launched it the first year of Innovate, but marketing is not my native language. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of as a side conversation late one night, right? We've already gone to dinner. Everybody's had drinks. He and I are just kind of like chilling, walking the city and enjoying the weather. And I somehow it comes up. I talked to him about it. He's like, "That's amazing. I love that." And so now he and I are partnering on that. So when you talk about crossing the streams, finding good help these days is difficult. And I love your point about expertise. Every time a new technology comes up and it kind of takes off by fire, what it's essentially doing is it's allowing you to tap in to some sort of skill set that you normally wouldn't bump into. So when the internet came out, all of a sudden I can buy something from states away. For instance, I have a Jetta, a Volkswagen Jetta, and its like front fan went out, which was messing with my AC. I went to Amazon and I bought the whole front assembly and I redid it. I didn't go to AutoZone. I didn't go talk to my mechanic. I got on Amazon and I bought the parts that I needed and I fixed it. So yeah, AI is going to wipe out a whole bunch of the folks that are like just doing enough,
Mm-hmm.
but AI is still going to be asking the experts how to do the thing. And Nick is an example of one of those experts in marketing and RevOps. He's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, that's not my skill set. My skill set is crunching numbers in the background and doing the math of product design. That's what I'm really good at.
Right.
And he's amazing at sales. And so it's been this beautiful relationship that honestly, when we first met at the beginning of the conference, we were like, yeah, we like each other. But as the conference moved on and we got to hear each other's thoughts and see each other speak and listen to, we're like, this is a connection that's going to change our lives on both sides.
Is that better? Right?
And crossing the
Why
streams is
should the first thing that you do say to the other person, oh, so what do you do? It's just weird, right? It is the complete unnatural upending of society as we know it. It's so artificial. We've just been fed this whole thing that that's what you're supposed to do at a conference because you only have XYZ seconds. So don't try to get to know them. What if the first thing that you knew about them wasn't what they do for a living?
yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
so profound, huh?
Yeah. Well, and it's also a little bit weird because when you and I first meet, not when we first met, but like you just meet a random person,
Yeah.
and you say, what do you do? I think what you're actually doing is saying, I hope I do something cooler than you so that you will want to do business with me, which is
Right.
an absurd, like if you stated it that way, you'd be like, you're either a
All this
narcissist or a jerk.
peacocking
Like,
stuff, like Alina would
right.
say. Right.
It's
Yeah.
an absurd relationship, but that is the artificial relationship that you're forced into at your standard networking event.
Correct.
Whereas if you walk into the thing and you say, listen, I've got a day and a half, 2 days, 3 days with you. We're going to decide if we like each other. And I'm probably not going to do business with you right now. But if there's a connection, we'll grow from there. The whole relationship shifts from you want to buy from me? Do you want to buy from me? You want to buy from me? Who's on top here? To people that are in co-journeying in their own lanes, and you can be genuinely excited. Jeremy, and I've brought up Jeremy a couple times, he and I don't do the same thing. He does publicity, I do culture. Right. But there's some amazing points of overlap, and a lot of it falls in the how I manage AI and how he does AI.
Sure.
That we just nerded out together. Like it's just the Venn diagram, which has nothing to do with our day jobs.
Right.
And we've forged a relationship over this, and I'm really excited about it.
And you probably wouldn't have brought that up if you didn't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
You wouldn't have brought it up, right? Because if you're not already like friendly or friends or whatever you want to say, you just keep it into this narrow lane. So we're taught the wrong things. And again, going to a bad conference is not like that checkbox list of things to do before you die. Go see a cool sunset, climb Mount Everest or whatever, right? Don't go to a bad conference. That's not the thing that you're here to do in this life. Right. And again, the reason that conferences are bad is that they're bad and they have no element of selectivity. They don't understand enough about what they are and who they're there to serve. They're just like, it's a meat market, you're a product, here's your badge, give me more money next year. We have a heart for people to actually meet and do more enlightened business. And you can kind of count on the majority of these people being players, right? So you don't have to worry about peacocking around saying who's better, right? Because you look to your left, you look to your right, all these people are accomplished. Like you're excited to talk to them because they're probably going to do something amazing, whether they're sitting next to you, if they're on stage, or they're going to start, dribbling basketballs off your head. Yeah. It just works. Totally. Because there is harmonic resonance of the whole room, not just the head of the room. There really isn't a head of the room at that. And I think people don't necessarily understand that. They're like, well, what does that mean? I have to have a fancier badge and a bigger microphone than everybody. It's like, well, okay, like we all do different things, but why is that the most important thing? Because there's even people, and I don't know if you probably experience this too, where people are like, I'm not coming unless I speak and unless I keynote, unless I this. And it's like, okay, maybe you shouldn't come, right? Because there's other people that we have to decide how it all fits together that people miss out on.
Yeah, I think that, and this is something I've been kind of pondering for myself recently. You go to a lot of networking events, and sometimes you find yourself in this spot where you're like, I am on the upper quarter of the networking attendees here, right? Like there's a bunch of folks that says their first networking event. There's a bunch of students sometimes, and you go to the event, you meet people, and you're like, okay, this is a time for me to give, right? Anyway, I was reflecting upon this phenomenon, and I was like, maybe I need to check myself a little bit more and be more interested in other people. But Innovate was interesting because Innovate was never that way for me. Like when I walked into Innovate, I was legitimately wowed by everybody that was in the room. Like different, different lanes in me for sure, different channels, different lanes. But each one of them I met, and I was just like, "You do what? Like you've actually cracked that nut?"
Right. People have done crazy stuff, and they're really humble about it too, because, and we haven't really covered this, but ego and narcissism remove people from the world in a way that people don't understand, because people will come along, pretend to be your friend, and they just want to pick your pocket and get your network. And we've got some guardrails against that. We very much look at the character of the person before we even think about, is this person a good fit? Are they technically competent? Have they done cool stuff? If they work for cool places? If we get the wrong feeling about you, it's probably not great. So literally, most conferences, you go to a page, you buy the tickets, and you're done, and you know where it is. Here, you apply to buy tickets, and you still don't even know where it is, because we don't want everybody to come. Also, one thing, and I'm curious on your thoughts on it. If you hear this is only for like old people that have already accomplished a bunch of stuff or whatever, I think it's almost the opposite, because plenty of younger people have come and they get to be in a wild room of people that they don't always get access to while they're already at school, if at their first job or whatever. And I think that's a giant disservice, because it is people from across all sorts of different realms and spectrums getting together, coming at things from different approaches that make something like this really good.
Well, I think this goes back to the it's so hard to find good help these days problem.
Yeah. Right.
Especially younger people. I just had a kid, a gentleman. He's just graduated college. I'm still trying to break myself of the habit of calling college kids, but
they don't like that. Right.
Yeah, they don't like that. I didn't like that. Now I'm older. I understand why people said it.
Yep.
He graduated top of his class, was the president of his school, just a well-accomplished kid. He helped me put on an event a year and a half ago. Just an impressive gentleman, like young man, right? He's now he called me up. He asked for some advice about what to do next. And I was telling him, I said, listen, Zach, you have knocked out some amazing things. A lot of that goes away as soon as you graduate. Like you did everything you could at your stage. You're in a new stage. Now you have to do some more stuff. I said, but also people are always on the lookout for amazing talent. And so there's like these little indicators, and it's not being the president of your college, though that's pretty cool. It's just the way you handle yourself. It's the way that you handle a conversation. It's the accomplishments you have done. And so it's not about I've made it. It's about the vigor with which you attack life and the humility with which you talk about your accomplishments. Like, this is something I did that's so cool. Can I help you do the same thing? Or I want to encourage you about, the struggle you're going through, or whatever it is. So yeah, even if you haven't made it yet, even if you're on the uptake, as it were, on the come ups, yeah, that's super exciting. It's invigorating to meet somebody that is striking out on the path at the beginning, and that maybe we can help them dodge those, some of the pitfalls that we hit, and watch them rise. So yeah, totally. The folks that are not yet there, haven't made it, haven't, got their patents, traveled the world, done the thing yet. I think you'll find yourself super embraced by folks that are game recognizes game.
People are hungry to help it out. People are like, "Helper, Gene? Are you kidding me? Get over here!" Right? Like the second anybody asks for help in the WhatsApp, in person, whatever, everybody like runs to help. Not because they're just trying to impress other people, but because it's kind of their default nature. Like we said before, go-givers. It's very much alive and well.
And I think it's also the economy of the world is two things: attention and trust. And really, attention comes from trust. And when you're on the upswing, or you're entering a new market, or you're kind of stuck in your current spot, having somebody open their network to you. Now, there's kind of two types of networkers, right? There's the hyper networker who knows everybody. and he just meets you. And in 5 minutes, he's like, cool, who do you want to meet? Yeah, I can introduce you to Wolf. And Wolf's like, I hate it when I get introductions from Greg. These are 2 made up names. I'm not talking about anybody specifically. But if you're just like passing my name out to anybody that you think might fit, I understand that you're not adding value to me. You're adding value to your narrative as the guy that knows people. Whereas if you very rarely introduce me to somebody, I'm going to take that call when you make the introduction. And so
I don't know. It doesn't have to be a rarity. It has to be precision, right? So if you just spam me with 20 intros, I know you're probably not legitimate.
Right.
I hear what you're saying. Like we're saying the same thing. It's thoughtful and deliberate.
Yeah. And it's not just the people in the room. You could have 50 people in the room who are each in 50 very different networks. And it's the network access that you get. And the people in that room have the trust with their whole network that, hey, I only introduce quality people to you. And I think that is, that doesn't fit in a funnel. That's about being in the room.
No, it doesn't, because we've got a world of fake metrics at many events. So how do people keep score when they are keeping score? They have a booth, they have leads, but what if the guy just likes your swag, right? What if you're just talking to random strangers that go nowhere? What if you just vomit business cards on everybody or LinkedIn connections? It's annoying. And people don't have time for this. They will remember it. And honestly, if you corner somebody and you say, look, tell me really the main thing, the best thing that you could get from going to an event, they're going to say the same thing that we're saying. I just hope that I meet somebody that's amazing. But their concept of it is they're hoping they get one, not 20, not 50, not 100.
Yes. Well, and that's what we did with, I think that's what we did that was special, is that we put a lot of energy into concierge connections. You and I scrubbed the list individually as people applied, as we invited people. We looked at them and we said, person A needs to be fit with person B. Person C goes with person F, etc. Actually, on the back end, there's some pretty nerdy data stuff that we put together to make sure that, I always called it wingmanning serendipity.
Sure.
I can't make you meet the next person, and I can't make sure that this connection is amazing for you, but I can put you in proximity. And if you have a modicum of social skills, you have a pretty high probability of making that connection. And that's possible because of one of the things that you do so well, which is you maintain this kind of soup of trust, this environment of trust. So when we help you connect with somebody, there's kind of, you're past the, hey, how's the weather? And you can start into a deeper conversation.
Right. And honestly, if we're all at an event, why would you say, how's the weather? You're standing next to each other.
Yeah.
Like, even when people think that they're saying helpful small talk, if you're in a city and you're going to talk about a sports game, like maybe they don't even like sports or that particular sport, it just doesn't make any sense. You don't know that you're doing it, but you're turning off the person that you're trying to impress. And it's just weird.
Yeah. Totally.
Oh, can't help everybody, but we can help some people, right?
Yeah.
Like
so let's talk about, I want to keep this short for the audience here. I'm sure we'll do some slicing.
Yeah, we'll land that plane. Yeah.
But let's talk about what we can expect going forward. So who are the folks that we're going to have on the show, and why should you hit the subscribe button and keep following this?
You want to prelude a little bit into people who are coming up next?
Yeah, man.
Okay. Well, have you been watching The Sheet?
Actually, I haven't. My wife took off vacation from her job, and so it's been a family week for me.
Okay. All right. Okay, Mr. Mom. So I will tell you a few people that are in it. I'm going to start with people that people know a little bit because they've been coming. Dave Moravec, who helped with connection connectors.
Dave is one of the old school connectors, man. Every time I've talked to him, I've been stunned by his comprehensive understanding about how to properly network. He's great.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I do not want to play favorites. I know there's no way to say it. So I'm going to pick people that people were kind of expecting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Matt Silverman is planning to be on.
Mm-hmm. A remarkably sharp individual.
Yep. Absolutely. Jeff Howell, who came for the first time, is planning to come.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Hune, Huhn, is coming. And the fun part of Nick is if I didn't know Nick for years and years and we didn't almost work together on a project, Innovate would never have been born. So
really?
I'm sure we'll cover that. Yeah, we were supposed to do some stuff for a bourbon brand in Owensboro where he was their head of marketing, and it got gobbled up by private equity. And then like he was out the job and we were out the contract, but then we met all the people on the riverfront there. So that was kind of cool. Yeah. So we'll just hint at those, but there's more coming. I think we have about 10 or so people registered so far. And we'll, in the show notes, we can link to that if anybody wants to join on and in after listening to this.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys have heard it. Subscribe, listen, find out who you're going to meet at Innovate and see what they're up to. And I think you'll begin to understand why crossing the streams is such a critical aspect, not just of networking or this side thing or this lead gen thing you're doing, but this is the way business is done. And come be a part of the movement and add to it. Cannot wait to see you in person. Jump on the call and DM Brian or myself. We'd love to build the relationship and see you in person in October.
Yes, indeed. Been a pleasure. As always, let's keep this sucker running, shall we? Let's see what happens when we bring a third person on. That'll be fun.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to get a question. It's going to be rapid fire.
That's right. We're going to see how you think, y'all. All right. So I think we're going to call it a wrap. Thanks, everybody. And we'll see y'all next time.